Hi everyone, I'm Kasumi, your garden consultant. I'm here to show you how easy gardening can be. After I stopped doing all these 10 things, my garden transformed tremendously. We often complicate gardening more than it needs to be. Especially with all the information out there, I understand it can be hard to know what really works. Join me as I share how simple it is to create beautiful, abundant garden. In the past, I used to follow the grow zone when planting my vegetable gardens. While this is essential for perennial, I found that it didn't always apply to annual vegetables. Many vegetables are quite adaptable and it can thrive in a variety of conditions. Instead of strictly following grow zone, I encourage people to focus on grow seasons. Understanding these seasons can significantly enhance your gardening success. There are 4 main growing seasons: warm, hot, cool, and cold season. For example, the cold season is perfect for growing leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, broccoli, and kale. These plants thrive in a temperature that range from a low 35 to high 65. Many gardeners tend to wait until April or May to start their garden, and some don't begin until June. Have you ever excitedly bought home your broccoli starter from the store and filled with hope for a big, beautiful broccoli heads? Instead of that lush harvest, you see flower stalks shooting up high instead. This phenomenon is known as bolting, and it can be quite disappointing. That's when I hear people say, I don't have a green thumb. It's not that you don't have a green thumb, it's just you didn't have the right information. Broccoli is a cool season crop. It thrives in the cooler temperature. If you plant it too late, or if the weather suddenly warms up, your broccoli may bolt instead of forming those delicious heads. To avoid this, it's essential to understand the right planting time for your regions and to monitor the weather closely. Starting your broccoli early in the spring or even consider a fall planting can help you ensure to get that harvest that you dream of. And this approach is not only extend your growing season, but also allow you to enjoy your fresh greens much earlier in the season. And here in Olympia, I'll be already harvesting my greens by April, and you can do the same. When it comes to planting space, it's important to remember that it serves as guideline for how big a plant can grow. While this information is helpful to a farmer, as a home grower, we have the unique opportunity to cultivate a diverse array of crops in our gardens. Unlike large-scale farming, which often relies on monocropping, we have the opportunity to celebrate the beauty of biodiversity. If we take a moment to observe nature, particularly natural forests, we can appreciate the rich tapestry of plants coexisting harmoniously. In these forests, the ground is often concealed beneath layers of diverse vegetations and organic debris, each element playing a vital role in the ecosystems before we even reach to the soil itself. This is what we aim to replicate in our gardens, a natural harmonious environment where different variety of crops coexist. By mimicking nature, we can create a resilient garden that support a variety of plants, enhance biodiversity, and ultimately lead to healthier produce. While crop rotation is often highlighted as an essential practice in gardening, my planting method allows us to move beyond the traditional concern of crop rotations. By following the natural growing seasons, we can keep our garden beds productive throughout the year without the need for a strict rotation schedule. As the cool season comes to a close, we seamlessly transition to planting warm season and hot season crops. Once those crops are nearly the end of their cycle, we can switch back to cool season crops. This approach ensures that my garden bed are never empty, maximizing productivity and minimizing downtime. By continuously planting according to the season, we create dynamic gardens that thrive year-round. This method not only keep our soil healthy, but also allow us to enjoy diverse harvests throughout the changing season. I came from a lineage of small farm on my both sides of family. My grandparents grew their produce and sold it to their local community, all without ever purchasing fertilizer. They managed to yield massive amount of food from their small plot, and that was the only way I knew how to grow food. When I first started gardening on my own, I didn't give much thought to the quality of my soil. I figured any old dirt would do. Based on my childhood observation, it all seems so simple. However, I quickly learned that what I had dismissed as nothing special in the gardening was actually the accumulation of years of carefully planning and diligent work. They had built their soil. Healthy soil is packed with nutrients, beneficial microorganisms, and the right structure to retain moisture and air. It's the foundation of thriving gardens. Without good soil, even the best seed or plants can struggle to grow. So if you're just starting out or you have been gardening for a while, take a moment to assess your soil. Consider adding more organic matter like compost, mulch, or well-rotten manure to enrich it. Building healthy soil takes time, but rewards are so worth it. Strong plants, better yields, more vibrant garden overall. When I had to quit my job as a hairstylist in California and move to Missouri for my husband's career, I had the opportunity to reconnect with gardening. It was during this time that I was introduced to conventional gardening method, which was quite shifts from the practices I had learned. Seeing the contrast between sustainable natural approach and the more conventional method opened my eyes to possibility to gardening. I realized that we can cultivate our gardening in a way that honors the earth and produce healthy food without relying on synthetic inputs. This journey has inspired me to blend the wisdom of my grandparents with the modern technique, creating gardening style that is both productive and sustainable. I'm excited to share this journey with you and explore how we can all grow food in harmony with nature. After trying conventional gardening method for 2 years, I noticed that while my vegetables grew well initially, they started to weaken if I didn't keep feeding them. It puzzled me why so many people rely on chemical fertilizer when they didn't seem to benefit the soil in the long run. In contrast, my original approach to gardening allows the soil to improve each year. By nurturing the soil naturally, I've been able to save a considerable amount of money on fertilizer as well as time and effort throughout the year. This method not only boosts the soil health, but also results in more resilient garden overall. Over time, as the soil quality improves, almost anything you plant will thrive. It's a sustainable cycle that benefits both gardeners and environments. I believe that by focusing on building healthy soil, we can create gardens that are not only productive, but also self-sustaining. I completely understand the frustration of watching our hard work and patience go to waste when our plants are invaded by pests like aphids. It's essential to take a step back and think, why these pests appearing and how can we change that? There are two main reasons for pest issues in the garden. The first one is a lack of diversity. When we cultivate only a few types of plants, we inadvertently create an environment that attracts specific pests. Just like human insects have preferences, by offering their limited food options, we invite infestation. However, by diversifying our gardens and incorporating a variety of crops, we can dispute the life cycle of these pests and foster a more balanced ecosystem. While this is impossible to completely eradicate pests, a balanced ecosystem will provide resilience against pests and makes it so there are not really a major problem. And the second reason is stressed plants. These can result in many factors such as poor soil quality, too many water, not enough water, and weather stress. Too hot, too cold, just like when we are under too much stress, we get sick more easily. Same goes to the plants. Pests like to attack weak plants. This will take us back to what we have discussed earlier in the video: soil quality, mulching, and plant timing. This approach not only helps in managing pests, but also promotes healthier plants. I experimented with gardening without mulching for a while, and I found that things grew just fine as long as I planted enough to shade out the soil. However, I learned the hard way that we should never leave our soil exposed. Just like our skin needs protections from the sun, microbes in our soil require cover to thrive. When a heat wave hits, my plant really struggle without that protective layer. Since then, I made it a priority to cover my soil. Mulching not only helps retain moisture, but also regulate soil temperature and suppress weeds. It's a simple practice that can make a significant difference, especially if you are away from your gardens for a while. Leaving the soil uncovered is risky. Also, it can lead to stress for your plants. Mulching can buy you more time to react and water your plants. Both for our plants and ourselves as a gardener, many people share their frustration about their garden failure. But when I ask them what they think went wrong or what they did differently, many people have no clue. They just go, I just add more fertilizer. We all been there, right? It's important to take a step back and evaluate our gardening practice. If we continue to do planting in the same way year after year without making adjustments, we would likely to face the same challenge repeatedly. By revisiting past shortcomings and embrace adaptability, we can develop a robust strategy for future success. Don't start too big, start small. This approach helps reduce the overwhelm that can come from the amount of work, care, attention, and cost involved in gardening. I have learned that when we overload ourselves with too many tasks at once, we often can't perform as well as we could. When we feel overwhelmed by costs, it can lead us to poor judgment in our gardening decisions. For example, if we skimped on soil, we might not provide our plants with the nutrient they need, ultimately hurting our efforts. This can result in wasting time, wasting money spent on this plant starter and soil. Additionally, using cheap material can backfire as they may not hold up throughout the seasons. Instead, focus on one garden bed. This way you can give each plant the attention it deserves and gradually expand as you gain confidence and experience. Look at this bed when I went skimpy on my soil because I ran out of my compost. As you can see, the plants are struggling compared to the bed that I pour my energy to make it right. Look at this skinny plant. What a big difference. Gardening is such a beautiful experience when you have someone to share it with. The joy of discussing your triumphs and challenges and being able to share the fruits of labors with loved ones is truly special. I believe everyone should have the opportunity to feel that sense of connections and support. If you're feeling like you're hitting the roadblocks, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I'm here to shine the light on your questions and difficulty right here on the channel. We're in this together. We can untangle the problem you're facing and find the solution. Remember, the challenge you are encounter are often shared by others in the garden community. By coming together, we can learn from each other, grow stronger as a gardener. Let's create a space where we can support one another and celebrate our gardening adventure. The changes, while simple, can transform your gardening experience. I encourage you to share your own story and insight in the comments. Let's learn and grow together. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe for more gardening tips and inspiration. See you next time.